right, guys, we are recording. We are broadcasting.
All right.
Our friends are starting to hop on.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. They're probably like, what's going on? Am I in the right place?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Let's see your memoji.
We're all together.
Like the lift, too.
Oh, nice. I might have to add that. I'm not bold enough to get a real one. Well, welcome, everybody. It's another Tuesday at noon Central. We're actually in Mountain Time today, and we're live coming to you from Utah in a beautiful place in this beautiful earth of ours. And welcome. Thanks for hopping on. This is the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar, and I'm wearing my Let's Reverse Diabetes in 10 Million Lives. And Esther has her new Barton Delivering Hope and Healing shirt on. And Dr. Saunders has his professional white lab coat shirt on. And Leslie's man in controls here, just with a neutral colors.
Didn't want to stand out.
Yeah, because it's not like it's your birthday or anything. Woo! Happy birthday, Leslie!
All you guys, and we're at our team retreat, and these guys stayed up late. All the team that's here. How many people do we have here?
I don't know, 10?
They stayed up and decorated like the entire house. It is so cool. There's streamers everywhere, balloons. I didn't even open my present.
No, maybe
So,
we could do that.
oh my goodness, you guys, it was just awesome. Best birthday ever.
So put a little comment in the chat box. Happy birthday, Leslie. And, say hello. It's good to have you all here.
Should they guess my age?
I got in big trouble. So one time I was leading, leading worship in front of church. I don't know if I ever shared this story. And my mother-in-law was, sitting out there. And I'm like, I just want to give a happy birthday to my mother-in-law. She's 53 today, or something like that. And like the stare I got from her,
Really?
I probably shouldn't have said that. So, but I learned.
That is a good. At least it was her that you got to learn with.
Yeah, it wasn't a mega church either. It was like 100 people maybe. So she got over it.
I think that there's nothing wrong with aging.
Yeah, like if you're not
you
aging,
made it.
Exactly. What's the alternative? So hey, that's actually kind of why we're here, helping you guys to live a longer, healthier life. So yeah, and sometimes diabetes can cramp that. So anyways, today we have an exciting topic we're going to cover. So Cheryl, who's here and might make an appearance, Cheryl's our customer support. What's her official title? Customer love person.
It's also her birthday.
Yes, it is her birthday, so she might be up celebrating without us. But she said that a lot of customers have been asking, like, how do you reverse diabetes with a vegan diet? And so we noticed, like, we didn't put that in the diabetes solution kit specifically, but we thought today would be a great time to address that. And Esther is a new team member of Barton, and she practices the vegan diet lifestyle, whatever you call it. And Dr. Saunders has experience with that as well. And so we're just going to talk about that for the beginning part of our webinar today. So real quick, if you go to bartonwebinar.com, if you're watching this on replay, you can sign up to join us live every Tuesday at noon Central Time. And you can also see our products listed on that page and our Facebook page link and YouTube channel and all that good stuff. So bartonwebinar.com is the place to go. And our quick disclaimer, Dr. Saunders, we'll let you do that one.
Okay. The stuff that we talk about here does not take the place of what you individually work on with your doctor, with your health professional, with whoever is guiding you through the process, because you may have specific problems or issues that you need to deal with that don't apply in this specific situation. So it's important to take into account that this is an informational a venue here, and what we're trying to do is give you information, and then you take that and say, does this apply to me? And so that's why we're here, to give you good information.
Yeah. Why don't you two, I'm just going to turn it over to you guys. Have a conversation and
okay.
So
okay. So
I have no idea what he's about to ask me, by the way.
So what got you started in, well, you were a vegetarian before you were vegan, right? So why did you become a vegetarian?
Honestly, it was a mixture. It was mainly for animals. A lot of people do it for health reasons. I grew up in West Texas, and actually my dad's had type 2 diabetes since I was in 5th grade. And so I guess I saw that around me a lot and how my family was eating. And I actually watched a video when I was 16 about how animals were slaughtered, and it just really impacted me, and I stopped eating meat then. But I didn't stop eating dairy until about 2 years ago. And so that was a new part of my life. And that was more for health reasons when I stopped eating dairy.
Right.
So
dairy was bothering you?
Yeah, dairy was making me feel really bloated. And I also noticed that it would make me break out really bad with acne, and especially cheese.
Yes.
Cheese made me feel like it was very bad for my gut, and caused a lot of inflammation.
That's not uncommon. There are a lot of people in the world who have certain enzyme deficiencies in their intestines that don't allow them to process dairy very well.
Yeah.
Especially dairy. A lot of people say, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Lactose is the sugar, but a lot of people really don't process the protein very well either. So cheeses and stuff like that too. Yeah. So and one of the things you noticed was acne. And that's really important because dairy changes your hormonal balance such that you have a relatively higher amount of testosterone, which can increase your chances of getting acne as well. So for all those reasons, that's one reason why somebody might become vegan. Other reasons would be health reasons, or like you already mentioned, the way animals are treated, both in the process of giving their milk and eggs and giving their lives.
Right.
So for all those reasons, somebody might want to be vegan. So what does your vegan diet look like? What do you eat?
Yeah, so I am really into making bowls. To me, I feel like I make them differently a lot, but it gives me a lot of layers of getting a lot of different nutrients in one tasty meal. And it's very satisfying to me. So what it could look like, and this was something I mentioned earlier, is no matter what I eat, I keep a huge box of Power Greens spinach mix, like an organic big box from the produce section. And every time I eat anything, I lay the greens down first, because if I just go ahead and take a handful and put them in my meal, I'm going to eat them. So I just go ahead and always do that. And then for a bowl, you can use, I know rice is a little starchy. Sometimes I'll do rice, but you can also use quinoa, and then layer it with just tasty things like tomatoes, and I like black olives. So I always put black olives in my bowls. And I've been eating tempeh. And so with tempeh, it's fun too, because you can cook it in a lot of different ways. You can slice it long and make it almost like a tempeh bacon and lay it on top. Or you can kind of slice it into chunks and almost make like a healthy teriyaki with it or something. And so that just adds like a nice substance to the bowls.
Yeah, and you can flavor it too. You can put the tempeh in like soy sauce or something, and then put it in your bowl, and it'll be flavored.
And I usually use liquid aminos over soy sauce.
Right. Good. Yeah. Or something like a ginger sauce or something like that would flavor it, and
you can saute like garlic and onions with it, and just get that flavor with the tempeh as well. Yeah. And I love nutritional yeast, so I'll always sprinkle nutritional yeast, but that should be at like the top of the pyramid. So you're not using it as, you're not eating too much of it. You're using it as just a topping. But you can also use it to make sauces like vegan Alfredo sauce.
What is nutritional yeast?
Almost tastes like cheese.
Yeah,
it is brewer's yeast. If you go to like in Australia, they use a lot of brewer's yeast. They have something called, what is the name of Vegemite. My brother brought some home when he went to Australia, and that's the same thing as brewer's yeast, but it's it's in like a peanut butter kind of consistency instead of the nutritional yeast is a sprinkle on kind of brewer's yeast.
Yeah, you can use it as a Parmesan replacement too. So anytime that you might just want a little bit of a cheesy flavor on top, you can just use the sprinkle of nutritional yeast. I also like to incorporate a lot of turmeric into my diet. I will mix turmeric with black pepper because the black pepper aids in the absorption of the turmeric. So you can cook with that, or you can use it in hot water as like a tea style, and that will help reduce inflammation and help your body in a lot of ways as well by incorporating the turmeric.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So what you have, so what she's talking about is a way of getting nutrition. So it's an eat to live kind of thing. And what she's doing is she's saying, how can I get the nutrition that I need in the diet and eating the things that I love to eat? So in a vegan diet, I've had people come into my office say, oh no, I'm vegan, I don't eat animals. So, you know, it's horrible to eat animals. And I say, well, what do you live on? And they say, cold cereal with coconut milk on it. And mostly cold cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or sometimes just breakfast and dinner. And then for lunch, I'll have some rice or pasta or corn. And so living on these grains, and if that's all you're getting is grains, and so I asked him, that's one specific case I'm thinking about. I asked him, so don't you eat any vegetables? He goes, oh, I don't like vegetables. I said, wait a minute, you're a vegetarian. How can you not like vegetables? But that's what he did.
Yeah, so a lot of times too is if I'll just stir fry veggies. Like that's really my main go-to as well, but you don't want to cook them too long because you don't want to cook out the nutrients. And so I'll just kind of lightly saute them with a little bit of olive oil or something. But like I know that fiber is really good, especially if you're diabetic, because it helps regulate your blood sugar levels. So eating veggies that are high in fiber, like zucchini, I think asparagus,
broccoli and cauliflower,
things like
all
that.
those,
So again, if you do that, take your bowl and line it with your healthy uncooked raw greens, spinach mix, and then add whatever you sauteed on top, and you're just going to be forced to eat that greens mix. That's just my number one recommendation. Even if you're making tacos, lay a plate with your greens on them and then make your tacos on top of those greens, and then you'll be forced to eat those greens.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. I'd never thought of that.
Did you talk about the jackfruit yet?
Oh, jackfruit. Yeah. So another really awesome replacement for chicken and pork is actually jackfruit. And I find it at natural grocers in the canned section next to the corn and the beans. And the can says young jackfruit. I'm not sure if it's in every grocery store, so that's something you just have to look for in your area. But you get it, and it comes in these chunks, and it's a fruit, and you can tear it apart, and it looks like shredded chicken and shredded pork, and you can cook it on your skillet, or you can eat it raw, but you can cook it just like you would eat and cook chicken or pork, and you can season it the exact same way and make tacos out of that or put that on bowls, and it's really awesome.
They sell it at Walmart. Yeah. I was gonna see if
some of my meat eating friends have been mind blown at that it's not chicken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
You
Good
want to
idea.
hold this up to the camera and just kind of show them what it looks
This
like?
is jackfruit. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like pulled pork to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks.
It's delicious.
Great.
Honestly, my favorite tacos are jackfruit tacos. On some just like I do the raw. I don't know if it's raw. It's the corn tortillas you have to keep in the refrigerator. The sprouted green corn tortillas, and then I'll use that for tacos.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's delicious.
I'd like that. I've eaten vegan or vegetarian for like 1 year at a time. I'll just be this year I'm vegetarian. I do that kind of stuff just to see. I test out anything I've recommended to other people. I've always tested out.
Yeah. And
so in the year that I was vegetarian, I didn't use jackfruit. I used a lot of mushrooms.
Oh yeah,
and I found
mushrooms too.
Chopping mushrooms and then frying them up and sautéing mushrooms with garlic and onion, just like you were saying. I put it on. I could flavor it any way with tacos or whatever.
Yeah, I eat a lot of mushrooms. Usually, so when I go to the grocery store, I go to the produce first and I fill up most of my basket with produce. And then I'll go to the rest of the store and I'll get like a package of tempeh because it's still soy based. So you don't want to eat too much of it. You want your main meals to be those really great vegetables. And then you can, for protein sources, of course, you can do things like beans, but you just want to really soak and rinse your beans too, because that's going to help how it digests in your body as well.
So it sounds like you don't have a grain-based vegan diet.
Yeah, I'll occasionally use rice and quinoa to just add different meals, but typically
you don't eat bread, cereal.
Yeah, I try to very much avoid bread. And for milk, I do oat milk, but that's just my personal favorite for a milk alternative. I think it tastes amazing. Yeah,
good. So for those of you who were concerned, because a lot of people have written in saying, well, could I do the phase 1 of the diabetes solution kit using a vegan diet? And if you think about what Esther is talking about, or what she's been doing, if you think about it, you go, wow, that none of that is high in carbohydrates, and you could easily do all of those vegetables and everything and get under 20 grams of carbohydrates a day, because there's not a lot of grains involved. And of course, the taco, the sprouted corn and all of that. But in phase 1, you wouldn't have to use those, and you can still have your bowl lined with greens, and then put in your other vegetables, stir fry or whatever on top of it. And that would then allow you to do a complete vegan diet and still be under 20 grams of carbohydrates a day. Yes, that's entirely possible. And Esther is a good example of it can be done.
So we do have a couple questions that have come in. One, we just want to make a note that we don't actually have vegan recipes for you guys right now. That may be something coming in the future, or we're going to discuss that a little bit. But I will say, someone had asked, Dr. Sunders, you brought up a link or something that was shared somewhere that you found really good vegan recipes from. I think you mentioned it last week. Do you remember it?
I did. I mentioned it.
It's okay.
But I don't know if I could find that same link again.
So yeah, go back. If you go to YouTube, you guys, actually, that's a good time to just mention this. If you go to bartonwebinar.com, you will find a link to our most recent webinar, which would have been last week. You'll find a link to subscribe to that so you won't miss out on anything. You can sign up to be a part of this webinar. Lots of information on our supplements, just everything you could need. bartonwebinar.com. I'll post that here in the comments. But go there. You can see last week's webinar where we talked about this a little bit, and that's kind of why we chose to talk even more in depth this week. So that's a good place to go look.
Like if they there's 61 different webinars now, but like if you look in the comments of the videos, it'll say kind of an outline of what we talk about, right?
Yep.
So, is that updated after a couple weeks or something?
Takes a little bit of time, so I'm working to make sure all of those are done. But for the most part, you'll find it. So I'm actually working on that one today.
And a quick intro, Cheryl is here. Happy birthday, Cheryl.
Thank you. And it's Leslie's birthday.
Yes.
We done already. We did that.
Birthday girls. Yeah. So Cheryl is our customer support manager, and you may have come across her online, but here she is in the flesh. So
I want to know, what is your biggest challenge to overcome diabetes?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Tell us in the chat.
Yes, do.
Yeah. Say that again.
What is your biggest challenge to overcoming diabetes? Is it the food? Is it you have too much pain in your legs or feet from neuropathy? What keeps you? What do you need to overcome most in order to reverse type 2 diabetes?
That's awesome.
Dr. Sanders, you want to talk a little bit about like the vegan diet and like, is it a good diet for somebody that has diabetes to like kind of as a reset or anything like that? Or do you recommend it? Or is it more, if you're going to be vegan, here's how to reverse type 2?
So as a diet in the way that like Esther was talking about, a vegan diet is probably the healthiest diet a human being can have. And part of the reason for that is you're not getting too much. When you add in a lot of protein kinds of things like meats and cheeses, and eggs and fish and all that stuff. A lot of protein increases your IGF-1, which actually shortens your life. It increases your cancer risk and various other things. And remember, diabetes type 2 is a problem of too much. It's not the diabetes type 1, which is a problem of too little. It's too much. So when you have type 2, you have too much of everything. Too much fat, too much protein, too much carbohydrate, too much insulin, too much glucagon, too much of everything your body needs to function is just an oversupplied. And so it's a toxicity. We talked about that last week. At the bottom line, if you went into your doctor and your doctor looked at your test and said, oh, your hemoglobin A1C is high, and you go, what does that mean? Well, that means you're toxic on sugar. Then it would be obvious what you needed to do. If your vegan diet is living on grains and sugar and cereal and nuts and seeds and all that, then you haven't really fixed the problem. But if your vegan diet is, I'm going to have greens and stir-fried vegetables and vegetables with every meal, and I'm going to eat a lot of fiber, then that is a diet that is not only sustainable for life, for anybody, whether you have diabetes or not, it's also really, really good for a diabetes program. So how do I know this? Well, research has been done. I'm not just throwing this out there for nothing. McDougall, if you go on McDougall.com, they have a lot of research on a purely vegan diet, including things like beans. You were talking about beans. Beans are a good source of protein and they have carbohydrates. And people go, I can't eat beans because I have diabetes. Well, you know what? They can prove that you can reverse diabetes with a vegan diet that includes beans. So it's not just for diabetes. Yes, anybody can do it. And it's very good for you. It's a very sustainable, healthy way to live for life. And you would have a longer life.
And so there's a lot of people I know that say, I could never be vegan. I could never do it. Well, you don't have to all the time, but maybe try to limit your meat intake to not every single day. Maybe a couple of times or a few times a week, you could try to just do plant-based and just start there and see how that makes you feel.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So for a while, you said when you first started this, you were eating fish once in a while, but then the cheese started bothering you, so then you got off that.
Yeah, yeah, I was eating eggs a lot. I just had a
Sorry, guys.
Okay.
So,
Can we put this one over here?
yep. I'll just have to have you guys kind of look through the comments.
Oh.
My laptop died.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, here we are. We're back. Sort of.
So on, I guess, I don't know if we wrapped up what we were talking about now, but I kind of had it loaded so that I'll come sit on this side.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. So I'm going to just read some of these questions. Joe actually has the Turmeric BP, which is a supplement that we have. Someone is asking a question. This is from Krish. Oh, it's Krish. Hello, Krish. Let's see. Does Turmeric BP act on adrenals? And if so, can I take both Turmeric BP and Ashwagandha together? Ashwagandha.
Okay. The answer to that question is yes. The adrenal glands are what controls your circadian rhythm of your body. And it's very important for your metabolism, for inflammation, for everything. In fact, when a doctor wants to shut off your metabolism, they shut off your adrenal glands by giving you really high doses of cortisol, and that prevents you from making the cortisol in your body. So turmeric is really good for that. It shuts down inflammation, and turmeric is amazing. Every time they do research on it, they say, oh, it actually changes your genes. But is that okay? Oh yeah, Joe's coming on. It actually changes your genes in a lot of different ways. They found one type of cystic fibrosis could be reversed by taking turmeric because it changed the gene that makes the calcium ion channel and improves the function and actually makes it function normally. So
Swaparoo, or you want to stay in it?
Stay here.
Okay.
now there's
We're
two
committed.
of us.
We're committed.
Sure.
I'll give you that too, maybe if you want to share
Okay.
it.
All right, turmeric. That's the turmeric BP. I have it backwards.
I love ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay, tell us why.
Okay, I'm not the doctor, so you could probably expand
Yeah, but you know how you
much
feel.
more about it. But for me, when I tell people about ashwagandha, because I feel like it works where your body needs it to. It kind of plays on wherever. I don't know the scientific terms.
I can
of it.
tell you what the
Okay.
scientific terms are.
Okay, but like to me, like I always feel like one, it does. I feel like it lowers my stress levels. It helps like create a more balanced state within my body. But I feel like ashwagandha is one of those really nice herbs that just kind of target where your body needs it to.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Do you know what that's called? It's called an adaptogen.
Yeah, adaptogens.
And that's why they call it an adaptogen. It actually helps you adapt to adapt to the stress level that you have. So that's why it what she's saying is it works wherever you need it. That's pretty much what it does. It's really amazing in that way. Research on ashwagandha is also quite amazing.
Yeah.
Can you pin
So-
the video? So then, or you know how to do that?
1 second, guys.
One
So,
second.
One other thing regarding
Okay.
like vegan recipes that you can always do is if you have a recipe you like, you can just do a quick Google search of easy, healthy vegan substitute of blank, whatever that is.
Mm.
So and you can bring up a lot of list of different recipes. That's what I do a lot of the time. If I'm thinking of something I want to make, I'll just do a quick Google search. Another key word that you can use if you are searching for.
Sorry, guys.
Another
That would help. And pin. There we go. We're good.
another keyword you can use if you are just searching for healthy vegan option recipes, you can search Ayurvedic recipes, because most Ayurvedic recipes do fall on that same type of eating plan that I follow.
Yeah, that makes sense. The reason I was laughing, I was just thinking of a joke about somebody who was a carnivore going into a vegan, going into a restaurant and saying, "Yeah, well, I'm a carnivore, but I really like vegetables, so I want you to make me a steak. I want you to make me a salad out of meat."
Meat salad.
Yeah, and I just noticed that the turmeric BP you have does have the black pepper
Yeah.
too. So
Absorption.
yeah, so if you do ever use turmeric for cooking, yeah, just honestly, if you're going to use seasonings when you're cooking, use as much black pepper as you want. Don't use salt. Use very minimal salt. At least I don't know if that aligns with what you're teaching scientifically.
No,
but,
that's true. See, it's true no matter where you get it.
Yeah, but black pepper is really awesome for you and for your inflammation levels, and just because of the curcumin in it, or the
Peppersin.
peppersin.
Yeah. Biopterine. Yeah, peppersin.
The curcumin's in the turmeric.
Yeah. Yeah, and what it does is helps you absorb your nutrients better from your food. The black pepper is, and it's not just like the curcumin, it's a lot of different nutrients are absorbed better. And it's not just a little better, it's like 100% better, 60% better, or 200% better. It's depending on what the nutrient is. It makes a big difference to have black pepper. You actually get more nutrients from your food by eating black pepper with it. So she's right, everything she's saying. Okay.
And things with salt and sugar, and this is something I've noticed just with myself and also with my parents, because I do have a dad who's type 2, and we are addicted to sugar. but you can wean yourself off of it. And the same goes with salt too. And so as you cook and as you make your iced tea, like don't put quite as much sugar. Just start weaning yourself off of it. I grew up on the sweetest Lipton iced tea, and now
Sweet tea.
and now
Yeah.
I drink tea with no sugar ever. And so it's really just something that you can break yourself out of. It's playing on receptors in your body that make you feel good momentarily, but in the long term will just make you feel more sluggish. So if you have a really big sugar addiction or a really big salt addiction, just start gradually putting less and less into your food, and eventually you will find that the taste is something you don't even need anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I found that too. I've told everybody, you guys have all heard me talk about my sugar addiction and how I got off it, and how I did a year sugar-free, sweet-free, no artificial sweeteners, no sweet anything for a whole year. And I lost the taste for anything sweet. And so if I ever had something like the sweet tea you're talking about, or a soda or anything, I'd be like, whoa, that is way too sweet for me. I can't handle that anymore.
Did you still eat apples?
Yeah.
Like fruit?
Oh, no. During that year,
Yeah.
I ate things that were not sweet. So I ate fruits like cucumber and peppers and tomatoes. So I had fruit, but I avoided sweet fruit.
Most people would call those vegetables. But...
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to go that drastic though? Because I feel like
for me, I had to.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard, especially when you've been so used to eating a certain way for so long. You're already making a lot of adjustments to that, and so I think I think about my dad a lot, and he could not just cold turkey something like that. And so I think for someone like him, doing that gradual off of it is really important. But
sometimes gradual is harder.
You don't need it though.
Depends on how you're wired.
Yeah.
Sometimes gradual is harder because for me, taking one cookie, I can't stop at one cookie. If there's more cookies there, I'm gonna eat the rest of them. You know, I would buy a pack of Oreos, and I swear I would eat one or two cookies, and then the rest of the package just disappeared, and I don't know where it went.
Yeah. And really don't use artificial sweeteners, because the artificial sweeteners will trick your body into releasing more insulin, right? Yeah, and that's going to cause an unbalanced level of insulin within your body. So if you are getting off sugar, don't replace it with things like stevia.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree, and that's often what I tell them.
Cool.
So, see, you didn't even know.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Not scripted, guys. Not scripted.
So I think it's a treat to have you here, Esther. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
But
Thanks
I think
for having me.
Yeah, but I think it'd be cool, like if you could share, like you are recently certified breath coach. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I'm a certified breathwork facilitator.
There we go.
I'm board certified from the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And so basically, a lot of people don't know, what is breath work? What does that even mean? Well, basically, it just means breathing with intention. And so there's a lot of different breath work techniques out there that focus on how you breathe, how you maybe hold your breath, if you're inhaling through your nose or your mouth. And a lot of different breaths have a lot of different benefits to them. And so my sessions typically look about like an hour long if I'm going into like a long session with a client. And basically what we're doing is we're breathing, but we're breathing consciously. We're breathing deep for an hour, because a lot of times people only breathe into their chest for almost all day, or we chest breathe a lot. And you can notice it if you just notice how you're breathing and your chest rises before your belly. And so even just focusing on bringing your breath into your belly can make a really huge difference. And earlier, right before we did this, we did a little 5-minute session where I call it conscious breathing. So we're consciously making the decision to breathe a certain way. But it's also important just to practice breath awareness. And what that means is just paying attention to how you're breathing. So when you're going through life and situations happen that might cause anxiety, which causes cortisol, which causes weight gain, higher blood sugars, like it's all connected. Notice how you're breathing in that situation. A lot of the times if you're feeling anxious, you're breathing into your chest and you're just breathing very shallow. So even just paying attention to bringing your breath deep into your diaphragm during situations of high stress can really help just take control of those cortisol levels right there on the spot. And yeah, there's a lot of different techniques, but
you hold on to it
mm-hmm.
a certain amount and slow your breathing down, because people are breathing in their chest,
Mm-hmm.
panting. They drop their CO2 and it constricts their blood vessels, and their oxygen level drops too, because they're breathing shallow.
Mm-hmm.
And so just that idea of bringing a deeper breath into your abdomen and letting it
right.
go longer than normal.
And it's constant practice. Like, even though I've even been studying this now for over a year, I still breathe poorly because it's just something we've been doing our entire lives. And so
you assume you know how because you've been doing it for your whole life.
Yeah.
Totally.
And you're breathing until your last breath. So that's, I think, one of the first base things that you can start fully taking control of in your life. So it's like something you do have full control of is how you're breathing, and it will impact everything else around you.
So how do you think that's being affected by everybody wearing masks?
I've definitely noticed it to be harder when I'm wearing a mask, and I have to purposely take even deeper breaths to get through that. I think that it is affecting people out in situations.
Because biochemically, when they measure, they take a CO2, a carbon dioxide monitor, and they put it inside somebody's mask, and they measure the CO2. They put a mask on, measure the CO2, and it goes up and up and up and up and up. And normal is around between 1 and 200. It goes up to 600, goes up to 1,000, goes up to 2,000, and just keeps going up. So you can actually, kind of like what the shallow breathing does, you're breathing you're keeping that carbon dioxide in. That's what the mask does. So.
I think it's important to find because we have to wear masks right now in most places in public. So I think it's important to find a mask that works for you, that is very breathable. What I found so far that seems to be the most breathable is silk. And on Etsy or online, you can find like mulberry silk masks, and they're around $12 to $15 about. And the silk itself is microbial. And then it allows for breath a lot easier. So
that's better. My neighbor was pregnant, and she just could not wear a mask. So she made
it's
one.
Also pretty. Silk is pretty.
Yeah.
It comes in all colors.
She made one out of tulle. Tulle is a netting for like skirts and stuff. And you could totally, see her face, but it does cover her nose and mouth, and that's the actual requirement. And so
I wonder if the airlines would allow that.
Yeah.
I had a mask, like it was like a Darth Vader mask with a couple of vents in it, and they said, nope, can't wear that. So they gave me this like little flimsy, standard mask. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll wear this one then.
Yeah, the silk seems to be the most breathable for me.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I keep thinking, for those of you maybe who are singers, I grew up singing a lot, and they train you to take deep breaths from your gut. That's where you're your diaphragm. You're supposed to watch it go in and out. And if you're breathing from your chest, you cannot sing. You can't hold notes. You can't do anything to the best that you're supposed to be able to do. So I just think that's really interesting to think about.
And what is diaphragmatic breathing? It's easy to do. Imagine breathing into your belly versus your chest, and you're going to automatically be breathing deeper. So when you do take your breath, a lot of times in my practice, we'll do it open mouth. Typically in life, you want to be breathing through your nose because it does have that filter. But if you are feeling moments of high stress and high tension, I would recommend going into an open mouth breath
and my mouth does not have a filter.
And going deep into the belly. Yeah.
That's the other thing.
So.
And I like our conversation about yawning yesterday. Like, so let's get some people yawning here. It's good for you.
Yeah. Yawning's
it's contagious.
Yawning's really great. It helps regulate your nervous system. And we were talking yesterday, it lights up a part in your brain that where empathy and bonding come from too. And so yawning is very good, and you should never repress your yawns. Instead, you should make them as big and loud as possible even. And if someone's talking to you, I know in our culture, we've been taught that if we yawn in someone's face, it could indicate that we are bored. But it should be the complete opposite. You should be encouraging your friends and family to yawn all the time.
Okay, so what about, we were talking about the contagiousness of a yawn, about how different people, some people, when they see somebody yawn, they automatically feel like yawning. Other people don't. Why is that?
Because it lights up the part of the brain for empathy. That's why we will yawn when we see others yawn. People who have disorders with that empathetic part of their brain won't typically yawn when they do see others yawn too. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna know.
I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna know I'm a sociopath because I never yawn when Joe's yawning. I'm watching him yawn.
I'm gonna fall asleep back here.
And I do not feel like yawning.
Yeah, but yawning is actually, what's really cool about yawning is it relaxes and energizes you at the same time. So it helps relax and regulate nervous system, but then it brings that energizing breath deep into your body. So a lot of the times you'll yawn when your body needs a breath and you have been shallow breathing, which is why we yawn a lot when we get tired, because we kind of fall into that instead of taking deeper breaths.
So it's not that we're bored because of the conversation.
No, it's never rarely about boredom. It's how you're breathing, and it's your body signaling how to regulate itself and help calm itself and energize.
That's interesting.
We've had people talk about how in the mornings their blood sugars are higher. So I think like a morning breathing exercise, like you've talked about that, like doing this, that 5-minute in the morning would be really good for lowering cortisol. And what does it raise?
It raises your serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone. So that feeling you get when your crush texts you or somebody says, I love you, and your significant other, that good feeling, it raises that hormone in your body. That 5-minute breath specifically is really great for your heart too, because it changes. A healthy heart is always changing. It's not just staying at a constant pace, which is why exercise and things are good too, to change and help your heart rate. But that 5-minute breath will help kind of let your heartbeat even travel into different variations just within 5 minutes, which Joe's just.
I'm just cracking down.
but if 5 minutes is too much too, because there's kind of a specific way that you would do that. 28 breaths is kind of that key number. So right when you wake up, focusing on that open mouth, deep diaphragm. You don't have to exhale hard. It's very like a. And 28 times. And that will help regulate everything to start your day.
That's interesting. Your hand did that you were explaining this before. It's like you're taking a tissue out and then you let it drop and float down.
We did have someone ask for a demonstration, so this is good.
Yeah, you're picking up a tissue with your breath and letting it float down with the exhale. It's very relaxed exhale. You're not straining your body. You're just making sure you're getting that really great oxygen intake and then relaxing and
Well, when we did it earlier, like you mentioned, like tingling, like I felt tingling all over in hands, arms, but it's like you could definitely tell something was going on.
Yeah, tingling, you'll notice tingling, and that's completely normal. If you start kind of cramping up a little bit, that just is you're not getting the right levels of CO2 and oxygen. It's becoming imbalanced, and so you can, instead of really focusing on that deep inhale, you can focus on a deep exhale to try to get to slow your breath and regulate that back out. So if you do start, usually with 28 breaths or 5 minutes, you're not going to go into that state. It's more typical in longer sessions, but if it does happen, you can just change your breath to more of like a and that just slowing that down.
So push that tissue down to the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I had a colleague of mine, a physician, who did lectures, and he went into into companies, and he would have the whole company there at a lunchtime lecture, and he would tell them that that his purpose was to help them to get better, to feel better, to do functional medicine, to restore function for like diabetes and all of that stuff. And that's what he was going to do for the people in the company. And what he did in the demonstration was he did a 5-minute breathing exercises of like what you did. And after that, after the breathing exercise, people would say, I feel more awake. You know, here it is lunchtime, and they're already, you know, kind of down. But after the breathing exercise, they're like, wow, I feel more awake and alert, and I have more energy. So they would invite him back, and then he would continue the lecture series and help them out.
The breath is amazing, and we don't breathe properly. And so no matter where you're at with your health, the breath can always help. There are a few situations, if you do have asthma, you don't want to practice a lot of deep open mouth breathing. You want to practice a lot of nose breathing.
Do you know why that is? I can tell you why.
You can tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a real thing, because when you do open mouth breathing, you're getting rid of more CO2. If you're doing the nose breathing, you're holding on to more CO2. The carbon dioxide dilates the bronchi, the small bronchi, the airways in the lungs. And if you suppress your CO2 too much by deep breathing through your mouth, you get rid of too much carbon dioxide. And you have twitchy airways, then your airways will close down if you have asthma.
Yeah.
So you want to do the nose breathing and the deep breathing slower, and do it through your nose so that you hold on to more carbon dioxide, and that as you hold on to it, it dilates your bronchi, and you actually breathe better.
Same with, I believe, if you have heart disease, you want to be careful with those really deep open mouth breaths too. Right. And if you are going to do practice breath work, to stay with nose. So that's usually if heart disease and asthma are more.
Yeah, and that's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
yeah, cool.
Do we have any questions, Rona?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of questions. So this will be rapid fire questions here.
Okay, all right. Let's do it.
Are you ready? Lots of happy birthdays, which is awesome. Let's see. Robert says he's discovered cauliflower rice pearls, etc., and they taste amazing. So if you haven't tried that, that's a really good option. With the vegan diet, with the vegan diet, how can you get enough carbs and fat without increasing your blood sugar?
Carbs?
I don't know the science. I just know what I do. I like avocados, which is a really healthy fat source. Also, I know that the types of oils that you cook with can make a big impact too. Oils like MCT oil would be a really good option.
Which is coconut oil.
Yeah. Would be a good option for getting that healthy types of fat. Yeah, you can expand.
And olive oil. Yeah, you know, people have said that you can't do your stir fry with olive oil because it's a monounsaturated fatty acid. Actually, olive oil tolerates heat really well. And I don't know, there was some rumor that you can't use it in frying or anything. Olive oil is great too. So the way you get the right fats and carbs is by getting vegetables. So all your vegetable matter has the right carbs, and then fats, you add the fats in. You use coconut oil and olive oil, and you eat avocados.
Yeah.
Or use avocado oil.
Trader Joe's makes a everything bagel seasoning.
Yes.
So it's it's like the toppings of what would be on an everything bagel. And if you make a bowl or whatever and put an avocado on and just do like a dash of everything bagel on top of the avocado, and black pepper, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay.
I just ran out.
Okay, rapid fire. We're doing rapid fire.
Oh, sorry. I got distracted. I've been opening my present. He was giving me hints. Well, actually, I don't know. But okay, this is from Krish. Krish has the best questions. Are eggs from organic, cage-free, and free-running chicken better than ordinary, non-organic, and cage hens?
Do you want to answer that?
I don't know what he's going to say. I actually just read something about eggs, and there's only one type of egg, and I believe it's free range, that they actually have space and a healthy amount of land to run around on. Cage free, they're still going to be in a very tight compartment, which is why a lot of the times cage-free eggs are so pretty inexpensive. Nutritionally, I don't really like. I obviously believe that if you can buy local eggs from like your farmer's market that are all different colors and that were freshly laid, like that's going to have higher nutritional value than.
Yep, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Either I have the chickens, which I no longer have them, but I used to have chickens, and if I don't, I look for a neighbor that has chickens and bring a carton over and say, can you fill this up for me? And
Most everywhere has some sort of farmer's market
Yeah.
of a sort. If you can't, do the research on the differences between what cage-free and free range actually is, because it is a big difference of how much space and what the chickens are eating.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Free
Okay.
range is better, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next.
All right. Cheryl had asked, what are some of your biggest hurdles when overcoming type 2 diabetes? And so we're getting some responses to that. I'm going to read through some of those. Grace had said motivation, avoiding sugar and fruit, pastas, chocolate. My biggest problem is neuropathy and diabetic sores on my legs.
Mm.
Okay, I think those are a few right now. And this is funny, Deb. The hardest part is diet for Deb. When will they make low carb ice cream and breads that are affordable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can make your own.
Yeah.
That's true. Let's see.
Good
I
point.
may pronounce this wrong. Sita, maybe? Good afternoon. Would you recommend taking powdered turmeric at nighttime or anytime? Thanks.
Both. Turmeric is so good. I would recommend first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. And you can do it in like a tea. What I like to do is heat up hot water. Sorry, I'm like taking.
Yeah, you're good.
I like to heat up hot water, and I'll buy just packs of ginger tea from the grocery store, and I'll just steep ginger tea, and then I'll add turmeric and cinnamon into that. And that's a great thing to drink before bed because it's no caffeine, and you can also drink it in the morning, and it'll boost your metabolism too.
Yeah. Curry powder you could put in your food, and that's turmeric, and often has cinnamon, black pepper, and a few other spices in it. And then if you're taking the powdered turmeric, yeah, you can take it anytime.
Yeah.
Can you take too much is another question.
Yes, you can get too much of anything. So the way to look at all of the research that we have on herbs, herbal supplements, is if you take them on a more intermittent basis. So for example, when they did studies on wormwood extract for malaria, the wormwood stopped working after a while unless they took a couple of days off. So if they did 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off, then it continued to function. And pretty much most things work in that way. So if you're taking turmeric and you take a couple of days a week off, if you're taking it most days, like 5 days a week, and you have a day here that you miss, people often come and tell me, oh, I'm really terrible at taking my vitamins. And I say, good, be terrible at taking your vitamins. You know, take them more intermittently, leave some space sometimes where you don't have them, so that the body goes, hey, I missed that, I need that. So then you'll start absorbing it better and you'll use it better. So yes, you can get too much of anything, even water.
This is from Anonymous. I love to eat fruit, especially apples and grapes. Is there a lot of sugar in these two fruits?
Yes. If you have to ask, then go back to the Barton Publishing diabetes reversal or diabetes solution kit and read that part about where the carbohydrates are. Yes, grapes, awesome, lot of sugar in them, and apples are great for a lot of other reasons, but yes, they have a lot of sugar.
Okay, I use stevia leaf extract in my morning coffee. This is from Martin. Is that an okay sweetener for a diabetic?
See, even she knows. This is
Don't
like,
do it.
yeah.
It's going to trick your body. Yeah, you're going to be releasing insulin, and there's going to be nothing there to help keep it regulated.
So then what she's saying is you're getting more insulin resistance, and that's your problem in the first place, is insulin resistance. So yeah, take the stevia out. And you know what? Putting a little coconut oil in, coconut kind of has a sweet sort of flavor. And if you put that in your coffee, then you can kind of like adding a creamer.
I don't know how good like oat milk would be for someone with diabetes, but I found that a splash of oat milk in my morning tea or my morning coffee, I don't need anything else. It's just a splash of that, and it makes it completely fine.
So look on the label. We have some oat milk upstairs, but
I'm not sure.
I haven't looked, but it'll tell you how many carbs it has in it.
And there's different brands of each types of milk alternatives like that, and they all vary depending on the brand too.
Couple comments here for Esther from Teresa. Thank you, Esther. Great information, and thanks for sharing.
Thanks. That's my mom's name.
Oh, really?
Oh, sweet.
Maybe it's your mom. Of course.
Let's see. Grace says, when I get angry or anxious, I lost it. Let's see. When I get angry or anxious, I practice conscious breathing, and it helps to calm me down. Teresa also says, Joe, show us your bottles.
Oh. Show us the pipes. Okay. So somebody asked about Synachroma. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, Synachroma.
So we are now fully stocked. And yes, you can get that. BartonWebinar.com has all of our, several of our products listed at the bottom. Click on the link and that'll take you to our store. Also, Webinar 25 is a coupon code you can use to save 25% off whatever you order today. So this is a reflux reliever. This has apple cider vinegar. Also a great product for leaning down and just alkalizes your body, and good for acid reflux as well. This is a very popular one for people with diabetes, diabetic neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy.
You guys, I give this out all the time. I have samples in my office, and I give them to my patients, and they say, where can I get more of that? And I go, you got to go online and get it, because it works. It makes a difference. I've had almost invariably people come back and say, oh, my neuropathy is getting better. I'm not having the tingling anymore. I'm sleeping better.
Yep. If you don't find a product on Barton Webinar, just go to bartonnutrition.com. So here's another good one. We talked about enzymes and different issues there. Like, Dr. Scott, what do you think of this?
Oh, that's great too. It was funny. Last year when we were here in Utah, while I was here, we were talking about, are we going to reformulate this healthy gut support? And while we were talking about it, I got a text from one of my patients that said, wow, I have slept best in the last 3 nights, better than any time in the last 10 years. And ever since I've been taking that healthy gut support, I don't have the intestinal problems. And I'm like, look, Joe.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. Here's probably my favorite. I sprayed this on last night at 2 in the morning.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah. No, that's
magnesium.
I used it today.
So this is a topical spray, sprayed all over.
Most everyone is deficient in magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of us are
Very
too.
common.
Yeah.
So
you get a 8-ounce bottle. This will last you, like, if you use this liberally, it'll last you a month for sure. But like 50 sprays a day all over your body, just wipe it on and it absorbs super fast. So it's like the fastest way to absorb it, and your body won't absorb more than it can handle, because if you consume it like orally, it can cause digestive problems and
diarrhea,
all sorts of stuff.
It also tastes, when you consume it orally, you really need to take the liquid version versus a pill anyways, and the liquid version does taste pretty intensely.
Did you just spray your mouth?
Yeah, I've done that before. It's really kind of not good.
Yeah, no,
it's not tasty.
Yeah.
If you've ever tried,
you can kind of mask it with like orange juice, but you shouldn't be drinking orange juice.
If you've ever tried drinking Epsom salts, you know.
Yeah, but the pill version of magnesium, I've heard barely, it doesn't work. Like, you need to take magnesium in a liquid form.
Yeah, don't spray this in your mouth. I just was being funny, but you spray it spray it on your arms and just wipe it around, and it goes through your skin. So I mean, if you happen to spray it in your mouth, it's fine.
It just
tastes bad. Yeah. And then our last one is iodine, neurometabolic iodine.
This is a fairly low dose of iodine, so it's not anything that can become toxic in any way.
Oh.
In fact, you could
women
drink
especially
large amounts, but you really only need microgram quantities, so it's fine. You just take a dropper full.
Yeah. So we highly recommend this for pretty much all women, because it's been shown to, I don't know if we can say it, prevent breast cancer, Like it's
it prevents breast issues such
Okay.
as fibrocystic breast disease, which can lead to things like cancer.
yeah, and it's very good
Good
for your
way to put
thyroid. Yes, that's excellent. So, speaking of which, we're gonna have you record some product videos later so we can put them up on our store. So, but yeah, that's all of our products that we have here today. We've got another one in production that will help men.
Oh.
So, yeah, so
Turmeric.
and then
Like
so
a
this is
midnight
actually a new formula, just recently, well, in the last 3 or 4 months, I think. So they, our formulators at our manufacturer just tweaked a little bit the type of turmeric we were using. So this is just more potent and more absorbable and all that. I also noticed, well, it's sealed, but it's a brighter color. So usually brighter colors means more alive and
Curcumin.
potent. And, yeah.
I think I'm most excited to get my dad the Cinechroma
Mm-hmm.
because he's been a metformin user for
Yeah.
over a decade. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for him to try that.
We've talked about how like this is better than metformin, like more effective, no side effects, unless you take like the whole bottle like every day for 10 days or something, but nobody does that.
And
but,
the reason you want it in that version is because the normal person can't eat that much cinnamon, right?
right, yeah. And this is like the extract. We're talking about
Yeah.
extract. So this is like 10 to 1? Yeah, cinnamon bark extract, 10 to 1 ratio. So there's more cinnamon in here than like a spoonful out of your spice drawer or whatever. So yeah. All right. We got any more last minute?
Yeah, we'll go real quick here.
Okay.
I've lost 37 pounds since February of this year per my doctor's orders. This is coming from Randy. Does losing weight actually lower your A1C levels?
Okay, I can answer that. Losing weight does not lower your A1C levels. In fact, you could be very obese and not have diabetes at all and not even have insulin resistance. So the weight is only sort of an indicator. It's kind of like standing on a scale. The scale doesn't mean anything by itself. Your weight isn't totally relevant. But the fat helps you realize or understand how your metabolic or how bad your metabolic problems are. So yes, many people who lose weight, because their insulin resistance is lowered enough for them to be able to burn fat for energy, then yeah, their hemoglobin A1C should go down and they should be a lot better.
Okay, I had an email from Andy. He was going to try to be on the webinar. I'm not sure that he's on right now. And I love it. He called it a Zoominar. So cool. Okay, I have type 2 diabetes. My recent reading was 6.8 on A1C. I'm taking Valsartan for blood pressure and metformin for diabetes. I've been told that my kidneys are damaged, mid-range of level 3. Is it possible for the kidneys to repair, albeit not the full normal level, or am I in maintain mode given my age of 72?
Okay, so at level 3 of kidney failure, you don't return to normal functioning kidneys. You can improve the function somewhat, but you don't get the filters, the glomeruli, the filters in the kidneys don't come back. So you can improve what you have as it will function better, but you're not going to grow new ones or get new ones. The ones that are lost and they're just gone. So what you want to do is maintenance mode mostly, but yeah, make sure that your insulin resistance goes down as much as possible. And it's a good idea to take Cinechroma and Nervala. So Cinechroma, because it has the chromium, vanadium, and selenium that are important to allow your mitochondria or your energy production to be normal. And then the Nervala to improve the circulation so that you don't lose your kidneys more. So those kinds of things, along with doing the program and getting your insulin resistance down and eating properly, getting enough nutrition and all of that. So yes, that would be maintenance mode. You're not going to get normal kidneys functioning again, or at least not that we know of yet.
That's a good question. And then I don't know how many more we want to take, but how do you increase your weight while trying to manage your blood sugar?
I've actually had several cases of that. That's not easy. In other words, if you're trying to gain weight and manage your blood sugar, that is, you can eat a lot of food, but it doesn't have to be food that is high in carbohydrates or that has anything that would cause you to have insulin resistance. So people who have high protein, high fat diets can keep their blood sugar normal and still gain weight. I've had people gain weight on protein and fat.
Victoria is wondering if you can take metformin with Synachroma.
Metformin, yes. Yeah, they're not incompatible. They work totally differently. The Synachroma helps your body to be more sensitive to the insulin that it has, while metformin causes, well, it inhibits the mitochondria from using sugar for energy and forces you to burn fat for energy. So they're just working in different ways, and they're not incompatible. You can have them together.
Can you wean yourself from metformin by using Synachroma?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we recommend.
What do you know about the metformin recall? There's been a couple of them recently.
Yeah. Well, because metformin has, because of the way it works, and I just told you how it works, it inhibits the mitochondria, the energy production cells, bacteria inside your cells, from using sugar. If you block the use of sugar and a person has really high insulin and they can't use fat, and they can only use protein, and they start getting necrosis of the liver, or their muscle cells have no energy production, so they start losing muscle cells. They can get it's quite toxic, and so because of the toxicity involved, there have been a lot of lawsuits against metformin and.
There's some safety recalls recently.
And then the safety recalls.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah, and if you are gonna buy it, use that coupon code webinar25. So the regular price is on the store page, but you can save 25%. So boom.
Boom.
All right, we have
No-brainer.
a question from Frank. Is there anything we can do for frequent urination?
Okay, Frank, look for the cause of why you have frequent urination. And I'll give you a couple of ideas. One is if your blood sugar is getting too high, then the sugar spills into the urine. And when the sugar spills into the urine, the water goes with it. So then you end up with a lot of extra urine. Your bladder's just filling up so full because your sugar's too high. And that would be an obvious one if you have diabetes. But there are some that aren't so obvious. There are some people who are on a low salt and high water diet. They drink like a gallon of water a day, and they're not eating any salt. So they deplete their body of sodium, and their kidneys no longer can concentrate urine. So then they're just peeing all the time and all the time and all the time and then they have to drink all the time. So they're thirsty all the time, but it's not because of the diabetes. It's because the kidneys, instead of having a really strong gradient of salt to be able to concentrate urine, they can't. So then, the key to this is like nighttime. If your bladder fills up 5 times a night, then there's something wrong, because you have a pituitary hormone that tells your kidneys stop making urine at night. If they can't concentrate urine and stop making that extra urine, then you may have a kidney issue.
The salt thing happens to me, where I'll notice if I go camping or something, if I'm like sometimes in just a different environment, I'm not retaining salt properly, and so I'll like eat some pickles, and then and then I'll drink water, and I won't have to urinate the same.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Pickles. Bring pickles camping.
I love pickles.
All right.
Low
Well,
carb.
any last thoughts here as we close out?
No.
Closing words, Dr. Sanders, you always have something. Recap,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So remember, we talked about how you can do a vegan diet, and anybody can do a vegan diet, and it's a very healthy way as long as you avoid all the grains and sugars and cereals and breads and cereals and stuff. And then we talked about breathing and how good breathing is for you, and proper breathing techniques. and then and that just those two things can make a big difference in your health.
Awesome. Esther, thank you so much. It's great to have you on. We're going to have like a breathing whole webinar, I think. Like that would be awesome. We could lead people through that
Yeah.
online. And,
We could do a full like 45. I'm certified to do Zoom sessions.
yeah,
So yeah, we can do Zoom.
that'd be awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everyone. See you next time.
Bye.
Have a great day.